How does it feel to be here at your first Vanity Fair Oscar party?
I feel really good. And I feel, I don't know, confident, and I know some people here, so yeah.
What has been the craziest part since coming back from the Olympics with that gold medal?
Yeah, definitely messages. I've gotten a ton of messages. I haven't gone through all of them. I can't, but it's okay, because that's not real. It's not real.
Alyssa Liu won 2 Olympic gold medals at the 2026 Winter Games in Milan, went straight into a media tour through New York City, hitting The Today Show and The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and then, instead of going home to rest, she packed a bag and flew to Los Angeles for Oscar weekend. Most people, after winning double Olympic gold, would disappear to a beach somewhere, turn the phone off, and breathe for at least a few weeks. Alyssa Liu is not most people, and the fact that she flew directly from a full media tour to the 2026 Academy Awards tells you everything about who she actually is. She showed up to Oscar night twice in 2 completely different outfits, made both of them work, crashed her teammates' red carpet interview in a moment of genuine joy that the entire crowd around them could feel, and told the press at the Vanity Fair after-party that she was excited to find the other Olympians in the building. The Elton John AIDS Foundation Oscar Party, running for 34 years, is not a random celebrity hangout. It is one of the most prestigious events tied to Oscar night, a serious fundraiser where getting an invitation means something specific about your position in the rooms that matter. Alyssa walked through those doors as a freshly minted 2-time Olympic gold medalist wearing a black suit with a silky white turtleneck blouse underneath, bell sleeves, and her signature striped hair. Polished without being overdressed, stylish without trying too hard, exactly the energy of someone who belongs in a room full of Hollywood's finest, because at this point, she does. The real moment that everyone is going to be talking about happened when she spotted her teammate Madison Chock doing a press interview on the carpet, and instead of waiting politely on the side or waving from a distance, Alyssa just walked right over and crashed the interview completely. The collision between Alyssa Liu and Madison Chock on that red carpet felt like watching 2 people who had just been through something enormous together, because they had, both coming directly from the 2026 Winter Olympics, where they were part of the same gold medal-winning team event. Seeing them on a Hollywood red carpet, laughing and hugging and promising to catch up inside the party was the specific kind of genuine crossover moment that no publicist could have staged, because the joy between them was the documented product of a shared athletic experience rather than a manufactured connection. Madison Chock deserves her own moment in this story because her Olympic run was extraordinary in its own right. Competing in ice dance alongside her husband and longtime partner Evan Bates, part of the team event that won gold, and then turning around and adding a silver medal in the individual ice dance competition. 3-time world champions, Olympic medalists, a couple whose partnership spans both the professional and personal dimensions of their lives in a way that their fans have absolutely adored for years. Chock arriving at the Elton John party in a black suit with a white vest top created an unintentional parallel to Alyssa's look that felt like some kind of unspoken teammate energy. The night before Oscar Sunday, Chock had already been in full Hollywood mode as a Ralph Lauren brand ambassador, attending a pre-Oscars party hosted by Delta Airlines, wearing a silky green Ralph Lauren gown, and crossing paths with Jacob Elordi, who apparently got the very specific privilege of holding her gold medal for a photo. That detail, a Hollywood actor holding an Olympic gold medal at a pre-Oscars party, is the compressed image of everything that was happening across Oscar weekend. 2 completely different cultural worlds colliding through athletes who had earned their way into both simultaneously. The fashion dimension of Alyssa's Oscar weekend is worth examining carefully because it is not coincidental or casual. It is the visible documentation of a relationship being built between a 22-year-old Olympic champion and one of the most iconic fashion brands in the world. Her appearance at the Elton John party in the polished black suit was followed by a complete transformation for the Vanity Fair after-party. Gone was the editorial look, replaced by a studded mini dress with tights and black heels, all by Louis Vuitton, the same brand she sat front row for at Paris Fashion Week. The Louis Vuitton connection is not new for Elisa. She made her Paris Fashion Week debut at the brand's 2026 show, sitting front row in a brown denim-on-denim look with a monogram bag, and the French fashion house has clearly taken notice of her in a way that goes beyond a single invitation. For a figure skater to sit front row at Paris Fashion Week and then wear the same label to the Vanity Fair party on Hollywood's biggest night, that is a level of crossover that very few athletes ever reach, regardless of their athletic accomplishments. The worlds are not supposed to intersect that cleanly. The Vanity Fair Oscar party is the specific event that represents the entertainment industry's inner circle acknowledging itself, and Elisa Liu walking into that room in Louis Vuitton after a transformation from her earlier editorial look signals that she understands how to move through different registers of the same evening without losing herself in either one. Same girl, completely different vibe, earlier polished and editorial, later ready to actually party, and the ability to shift between those two registers authentically within the same night is exactly the quality that fashion brands look for when they are deciding which athletes to build long-term relationships with. At the Vanity Fair party, Elisa told the press she was excited to find the other Olympians in attendance, specifically mentioning two members of the U.S. women's hockey team that won gold at the same Winter Games, Hilary Knight and Hannah Bilka, and that detail is the one that tells you the most. She is not just existing in the Hollywood world and keeping to herself, navigating the glamour carefully and maintaining the celebrity relationships that benefit her brand. She is actively looking for her people, the athletes who just went through the same experience and who understand what the past month has actually felt like from the inside. That loyalty to the Olympic family, the instinct to find the other gold medalists in a room full of Hollywood's most famous people and make sure to connect with them, even in the middle of all this, says something specific about who she is, that the medal count and the fashion partnerships and the red carpet appearances cannot fully communicate on their own. Madison Chock also made an appearance at the Vanity Fair party after changing outfits, swapping the black suit for a sleek black silk gown with a draped tie detail down the back, far more formal and glamorous, showing real fashion range, demonstrating that neither athlete was simply showing up to be seen without thought. These athletes are engaging with fashion in a real way, building relationships with designers, developing style identities that exist alongside their athletic identities, making choices rather than borrowing whatever is available, and that engagement is the visible evidence of a generation redefining what it means to be a professional figure skater outside the rink. The sport occupied a kind of niche space for a long time, beloved by fans, but not always translating into mainstream cultural relevance the way basketball or football did. Athletes were not typically showing up at Oscar parties or sitting front row at fashion weeks, and that is clearly and rapidly changing. The confirmation that both Elisa Liu and Madison Chock and Evan Bates will not be competing at the 2026 World Figure Skating Championships in Prague landed as a disappointment for fans who wanted to see the Olympic champions defend their titles almost immediately after Milan. Elisa's reason was straightforward and completely reasonable. She has not had enough time to train after the Olympics. The media tour, the travel, the New York appearances, the Paris Fashion Week, the Los Angeles Oscar weekend. There has been no window to get back into competition shape at the level Worlds requires. That decision, being smart about when to compete and when to rest rather than running herself into the ground chasing every available competitive opportunity, is part of being a professional athlete at the highest level and the kind of strategic self-management that extends careers rather than burning them out. Even Elisa Liu has limits, and choosing to honor those limits publicly rather than gutting through a world championship appearance because the competitive calendar says it is time is the same quality of self-awareness that allowed her to retire at 16 and return on her own terms at 19. She listens to herself. The Stars on Ice tour coming this spring gives her a different kind of platform, headlining a national tour across the United States, performing for audiences who want to see the Olympic champions live on ice in a context where they are not competing but connecting with the people who followed them through the Winter Games.
The lineup is extraordinary. Alyssa joined by Madison Chalk and Evan Bates, by Amber Glenn and Isabel Levito, her fellow Blade Angels, and by Ilya Malinin, the two-time world champion who is widely considered the most technically gifted skater of his generation, the biggest names from the 2026 Olympic season, all on one stage. What Alyssa Liu is building in the weeks following Milano Cortina is not a media strategy that someone else designed for her. It is the authentic expression of a 22-year-old who genuinely loves being in the middle of everything and is moving through each new environment with the same natural confidence she brings to competition. The Today Show, The Tonight Show, Rolling Stone, Teen Vogue, Paris Fashion Week Front Row, the Elton John AIDS Foundation Oscar Party, the Vanity Fair After Party, Louis Vuitton, the Stars on Ice Tour. This is not a managed rollout. It is someone running at full speed because they want to, and the energy is genuinely there. She told the press at the Vanity Fair party that she feels confident and she knows some people in the room, which is the most understated possible description of what it looks like when a person who has spent their entire life building exceptional competence in one domain discovers that competence travels across domains. The same quality that made her land quad jumps at 13, retire at 16 to protect herself, come back at 19 on her own terms, skate a long program with a genuine smile in the middle of it, and tell Rolling Stone about the water restriction without hedging, that quality is what is making her move through Hollywood with the ease of someone who is not performing belonging, but simply belonging. She is not doing this because she has to. She does not need the Oscars or Paris Fashion Week to validate the 2 gold medals that are sitting somewhere in her Oakland apartment. She is doing it because she wants to, because this is who she is when the competitive season ends and the world opens up. The girl who posted her retirement on Instagram at 16 to protect her exit before anyone could talk her out of it is the same girl who crashed her teammate's red carpet interview because she saw her friend and did not see any reason to wait politely on the side. Both decisions made from the same place, instinctively, because she trusts herself. The new generation of figure skaters that Alyssa represents is redefining what professional athletic identity looks like in a sport that has historically kept its stars within specific boundaries of public presentation and cultural engagement. For most of the sport's history, figure skaters occupied a carefully managed public persona. The sequins, the polished media answers, the interviews that praised coaches and thanked federations, and carefully avoided anything that might disrupt the relationships required to continue competing in a judged sport. Alyssa Liu arrived at the Olympic podium with bleached hair, her own piercings, a Rolling Stone interview about gargling water, a father she told the press did not deserve to be happy about her comeback, and a gala program she chose because Pink Pantheress is her idol. None of that fits the historical template, and all of it is completely genuine. The distance between the figure skater the sport historically produced and the figure skater Alyssa Liu actually is represents a generational shift that her Olympic success has now made impossible to dismiss as a commercial liability rather than recognizing it as the specific quality that makes her cultural crossover possible. Louis Vuitton does not invite athletes to sit front row at Paris Fashion Week because they won gold medals. The sport has produced gold medalists who never crossed over into fashion or entertainment in any meaningful way. They invite athletes whose presence in the room means something to the audience the brand is trying to reach. Alyssa's presence in that front row means something because she is genuinely in the culture, genuinely part of the conversations her generation is having about music and fashion and identity and what it looks like to be authentically yourself in a world that has historically offered athletes a much narrower template for how to be famous.
The specific image of Alyssa Liu at the Vanity Fair Oscar after-party in Louis Vuitton, having already attended the Elton John Foundation party in a different outfit, having already crashed her teammate's red carpet interview, having already connected with the hockey gold medalists, tells the complete story of who she is in one evening. She is not managing her public image through strategic appearances and careful positioning. She is genuinely present at each thing she attends, genuinely happy to see her teammate, genuinely looking for the other Olympians, genuinely building a relationship with Louis Vuitton because she likes the brand, genuinely telling the press she feels confident because she does. The authenticity that makes the Pink Pantheress chart story possible, the authenticity that made her Rolling Stone interview about gargling water go viral, the authenticity that made her Oscar night crossover feel natural rather than calculated, it is all the same quality expressed across different contexts. Madison Chalk's presence across Oscar weekend as the other figure skater moving through the same rooms adds the dimension of a peer relationship that grounds Alyssa's Hollywood navigation in the specific community she actually belongs to, the Olympic family she was looking for in every room she walked into. Two figure skaters from the same team event gold medal, one the breakout star of the entire Winter Games, one the established champion and Ralph Lauren ambassador and ice dance legend, both arriving at Hollywood's biggest parties in their own versions of the same energy, both changing outfits mid-night, both building relationships with fashion and entertainment on their own terms. The Stars on Ice tour this spring is where the Olympic season finds its proper conclusion, not at a world championship that neither of them had time to prepare for, but on a national stage where Alyssa Liu and her Blade Angels and Ilia Malinin perform for the audiences who followed every moment of what happened in Milan, and celebrate it the way that those audiences actually want to, which is together, on ice, with the gold medals finally visible and the competition over. The timeline of Alyssa Liu's last month is worth laying out in sequence because the compressed density of it is the thing that most clearly communicates who she is and where she is heading at 22 years old. Milan Olympics, double gold, team event and individual, media tour through New York City, The Today Show, The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, Rolling Stone interview about the water restriction, Teen Vogue, Paris Fashion Week front row at Louis Vuitton, back to New York, flight to Los Angeles, Oscar weekend. Elton John AIDS Foundation Oscar party in a black suit with bell sleeves, crashing Madison Chalk's red carpet interview in a genuinely joyful collision, Vanity Fair after party in Louis Vuitton's studded mini dress, connecting with U.S. women's gold medalists Hillary Knight and Hannah Bilka, telling the press she feels confident and knows some people here. Somewhere in that schedule, she also skated an exhibition gala to Stateside by Pink Pantheress and Zara Larsson, which catapulted the track to #1 on global Spotify and gave Zara Larsson her first American chart topper. An event that happened essentially by accident because Alyssa simply chose to skate to her favorite song. The confirmed decision to skip the 2026 World Figure Skating Championships in Prague is not a retreat or a pause. It is the boundary of a person who has been running at full speed for a month and knows exactly where her limits are without requiring anyone else to tell her. She is 22 years old, she has 2 Olympic gold medals, she is heading a national Stars on Ice tour, she has a relationship with Louis Vuitton, she has a Rolling Stone cover, she has a verified pattern of moving whatever music she chooses to the top of the global charts, and she is only just getting started.